history sometimes demonstrates itself to be so much stranger than fiction. I have a patron who's still alive, Jerry Jacobs, who had commissioned me to write a piece for the 4th annual Holocaust Remembrance. He was a survivor of 5 camps, including Bergen-Belsen. The piece was, 4,000 people came, was very successful and somehow got into the pipeline, and the next thing I know, the piece was being done again in Skokie, Illinois. 1,800 seats, all Holocaust survivors. And Jerry came to that, unbeknownst, it just went viral. And Jerry was sitting next to me, and behind him were 22 fellow Łódź ghetto survivors. The emotions in that hall that evening, I can't even begin to explain to you. There was one man there, I swear to God, and I embraced him and I said, "You're a miracle." He survived 18 different camps, from childhood to young adult. This world. Anyway, let's take a breath. Our next reader is a very unusual warrior. I embarrass him using this, but he is such a witness of truth. If you recall in Catch-22, when Yossarian was bitching and moaning about the 44 missions plus and carrying on, and the insanities of war, this gentleman flew 1,176 missions in Vietnam. It was a war that I particularly came out in 1964 against, predicting the reverse domino theory, how we were ultimately going to be sucked in, which we were. Between Vietnam and Cambodia, we murdered 6 million people. And The Fog of War, a documentary by Robert McNamara, at the end of the film, he says, well, if we had lost the war, not recognizing that we had, he continues, he said, we would have been tried as war criminals. What do we kill, 1 million in the Middle East so far? $6 trillion. And now we have a president who already says he's going to put $54 billion into the military, taking the exact amounts of money out of non-defense. Then there's another photo op. He's on the SS Gerald Ford, our latest built aircraft carrier. How many billions of dollars to build? And he announces to the men on the ship, we are going to basically launch the largest military budget in history. Since 1940, we have spent $10 trillion just on our nuclear arsenal alone. People, take to the streets. Anyway, a dear, dear friend and colleague, I love this guy. This is, you've heard the Indian expression for indigenous, a man with many eagle feathers. This is Lou O'Neill. Please, sir.
Thank you, Hayden. Hayden is one of the only genius I know that seems to like me. So I usually say that about Mona, who was the most cultured person I knew that seemed to like me. I found out recently that I do my poetry like I got through college. I cram. This piece of paper was just finished at 6:31 tonight. This will be the first time I'm reading it. And the way I used to go through college was I partied and worked and drank and then would study for the exam. And then I would find the material fascinating. I would read all sorts of stuff that wasn't going to be on the test. But I did get through. But that's how I do the poetry. I'm obsessed with the insanity that Hayden mentioned. And I've been part of the insanity. And we must have some psychic connect. I was so touched by your reading tonight, and you didn't know what I was doing tonight. But the title of my poem is Camelot Again? No, I'm afraid not. There appeared to be a conspiracy plot. I was fortunate enough to be, when I first came back, the first tour in Vietnam, I came back and I was signed to the Presidential Squadron, the HMX in Quantico. The Marine Corps thought I was qualified, but Secret Service didn't think I was fit. They must have found out I flunked a Latin for altar boy or something. They kicked me out of the squadron, so I didn't get to fly with my favorite president. During that period, I remember one evening listening, after 2 martinis, I was laying on the floor listening to him speak. And I said, my God, this man, he can get people to do anything he wants. I was so enthralled with him. And then I learned about his son. And I feel part of the conspiracy that I'm going to talk about because as a pilot, people used to come and ask me after JFK Jr. was killed. They'd ask me about the flying, what might have happened. And I went along with all the crap I had read about in the papers. And I began recently to look into it more and more and more. So this is what I've written. It's called Camelot Again? No, I'm afraid not. There appears to be a conspiracy plot. At his dad's funeral, the young boy melted America's heart. He was raised and loved by a wise mom right from the start. He grew to manhood, undamaged by wealth, legacy, and fame. Took risks, got involved, and gained worldliness, ready to leverage his name. Charismatic, loved by a nation, famous, an incredible political force, a predictable political future, a New York senator, of course. Camelot again? No, I'm afraid not. There appeared to be a conspiracy plot. So let's look at the facts, not the story we were told. They already killed 2 of his family. Now a new plot unfolds. So let's set the record straight. What kind of pilot was he? He was average and prudent. All his instructors agreed. Over 300 flight hours with 40 in the aircraft, that's quite a few. Getting an instrument rating, passed the exam, just a few co-pilot hours would do. Had a broken ankle, was out of the cast, but still on crutches that night. They say he flew without an instructor. At least there wasn't one in sight. But that's hard to believe based on some of these following facts. They waited around 45 minutes. Why? That's not a normal way to act. His last 7 flights were with instructors. He wanted his rating. Married guys, can you picture your wife getting in a plane with you on crutches? No debating. So maybe I should mention, and you'll see my intentions, that after many mysterious and outlandish, unexplainable interventions. Camelot again? No, I'm afraid not. There appeared to be a conspiracy plot. He contacted the tower at 9:39. That night, he was calm, cool, and right on course. Yet the search did not start till 8 a.m. the next day, way out at sea. What was the source? Well, the Pentagon got involved in a civilian air disaster. Guess who's the commander-in-chief? Yep, Clinton was the master. After all these delays, guess what was missing when they finally found the wreck? The black box, the flight log, and the co-pilot's seat was missing. Oh, what the heck. The media was fed lies, tales of deceit. Many anonymous innuendos were told. There's so much more if you're willing to look. I'm only planting a seed. I guess I'm getting old. But even though it's long ago, how it really happened, JFK Jr.'s final flight, it's on Channel 37, HLN, Headline News TV, right now, tonight. I don't know what they will show. I hope they are courageous. But check out a new book by Roger Stone. He says the Clintons murdered him. Now that's incredibly outrageous. Camelot again? No, I'm afraid not. There appears to have been a conspiracy plot.